why I like when he was saying shit about Barry down in Atlanta, and he had all the events crossed up and wrong, the time frames wrong, everything. He's just up there bullshit. He's just telling stories that are bullshit, man.
In a video published on the True Crime and Stories with Sandman YouTube channel, former Aryan Brotherhood Commissioner John Greschner speaks to just how vicious a predator Keith Eugene Gaffney, aka Khalif Abdul Mujahid or DC Fly, was inside of Lorton, stating that the prison guards would threaten unruly inmates by telling them that they'd send them to Fly and let him rape them, and revealing that Eyone Williams of the DC Blks is said to be a rat.
A lot of blacks are rapists, man. That's just how it is. And listen, you know, they used to have, like, down in Texas, they used to have the building vendors, the BTs, right? They worked for the cops. Okay. In Lorton, Fly basically was a PT because the cops would control the little black kids. Tell them, if you fuck up, we're going to send you down there with Fly, and he's going to fucking rape you. He's going to fuck you. They would scare him. That's what they would do with him. Now, the dude that's giving him the platform, that dude Eyone Williams, he informed me, gave his fucking partners up on a murder people and put them in prison. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. That's fucking nuts.
Yes.
I heard about him.
So,
I want to keep it about Fly right now.
And, okay, yeah, but I'm just saying that I got him from Mike. Mike was telling me about him because they're talking shit about, listen, they're talking shit about rats and this, that, but they're rats. They're rats.
Of course.
They're rapists, they're street rapists, prison rapists, they're all of that.
The former Aryan Brotherhood Commissioner will go on to say how Fly lies about the events he speaks of, as well as how Fly came to jail as a sexual predator and continued his predatory ways behind bars.
They're rapists, man.
Yeah.
They came into jail as rapists, man.
Yeah.
And they're rapists in jail. That's why that shit he was saying, he robbed the Emmy. Like, five, six Emmys, made him strip down, had a knife, and robbed him and all that. I knew that was bullshit.
Yeah.
If he did that, they'd end up killing his ass. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You're Muhammad Ali. You're gonna have so many knives sticking out of you. You gonna look like a fucking porcupine. That's just how that shit's going down. So the thing is, I knew that was bunk, right? It turned out he raped a little Mexican homosexual.
All right, peace. You already know where you at and who you rocking with, right? Right. So let's get to that then. Yo. I think it is True Crime and Stories with Sandman. I think that's the channel. A link to the description box. A link to the channel will be in the description box, rather. But yeah. I talked to Sandman. He a cool dude. He gave me a slight history lesson as to the AB, the Aryan Brotherhood, as they go by now, the brand. You know what I'm saying? And we had a very good conversation. Let's just say that. But outside of that, John Greschner, the former commissioner of the Aryan Brotherhood, the ABs, the brand, he did an interview with Sandman, and he had a lot to say about Fly. Fly's character, the stories that Fly's telling, and the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? And we about to get into that because, you know, everybody's trying to paint a different picture of this dude. You feel me? I'm not even gonna say everybody. I'm gonna say the Eyone dude is trying to paint a different picture of this guy, but people really know who he is. Now, this is really a cat that is still incarcerated, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's doing a life bit. He's still incarcerated. I think he is. I don't know. I don't want to misspeak, but I think he's somewhere in Colorado right now. You know what I'm saying? If I got that wrong, I'll put it on the bottom of the screen or something like that. But that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is, this is a guy that has been in prison since the 70s, just like Fly, well versed in who Fly is, who the DC Blks are, and the history between the ABs and them or whatnot. And he's calling cap on a lot that Fly has said since he's been a free man, and even questioning how he became free. So let's get into that, man. One thing that he said that I did not like, I'm gonna start with that I did not like, and I'm trying hard not to call a dog a racist. You feel me? They had ties to the Mexican mafia in California or whatnot. They stood together with them, but not with us. You know what I'm talking about? But at the same time, I'm gonna call him pro-white because I'm pro-black. Ain't nothing wrong with being pro-black. I don't feel like it, so it shouldn't be nothing wrong with being pro-white either, right? Being a racist is something different. You dig what I'm talking about? So let's just say he pro-white right now. He said a lot of blacks are rapists, and that's just how it is. That's cap. That's cap. I wonder if he's talking about his experience behind the wall because, again, he's been in prison since the 70s. You know what I'm saying? And I did hear that the DC blacks, the DC car, are well versed in sexual assault. In the sexual assault of other inmates. I heard they take it too far. They'll beat people up and then rape them in the end and let them know they were really serious or this and another, or turn them out into punks or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knows that. You know what I'm saying? So, what I did was I did a small search and I came up with this chart right here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody check this chart out. And it says between 2017 and 2021, 57.5% of sexual abuse offenders were white men. I think you got us confused. Yeah, I think you got us a little bit confused. That's cool. That's cool, though. I'm going to get it right. It says 16.1% were black, 12.1% were Native Americans, and 11.8% were Hispanic. Now, when we talking about kitty, you know what I'm saying, messing with the kids and stuff like that, 74.6% of offenders in cases involving the production of child, you know, this and that and the other, were white. Yeah. 53.3% of offenders in cases involving travel for prostitution, travel for prohibited sexual contact were white, and 27% were black. So as you can see, y'all got us beat statistically in just about every realm. You know what I'm saying? So him calling it's just a lot of blacks are rapists and this and that, that's cap. That's cap. We aren't barbaric. Those are ways that's learned behavior. We learned that behavior in captivity. And guess who held us captive? Huh? Anyway, let me see. 61.3% of offenders in cases involving criminal sexual abuse, i.e. rape, were Native Americans. 65.4% of offenders in cases involving abusive sexual conduct were Native Americans. 84.6% of offenders in cases involving statutory rape were Native Americans. So you see, everything that glitter ain't gold. What I say by that is, what I mean by that rather is, those are indigenous people. That ain't us. We are Asiatic people. You feel me? Everything that glitter ain't gold. Just because you saw a little melanin, or you know what I'm saying, they get a little bit dark when the sun come out or something like that. That don't mean they one of us. You know what I mean? But outside of that, I had to get that straight because he reiterated that a couple of times. And like I said, I don't know if he's limiting. I'm hoping he's limiting that experience to the experience that he's had in prison. And that's even messed up. You know what I'm saying? But he says, Fly was basically a BP or a BT, which is saying that Fly was a guard and worked for the guards or whatnot. He said, because the guards would use Fly to control the black kids, telling them if they mess up, they were going to send them to Fly and Fly was going to rape them. So they would use Fly and the detail, because that was his little crew of bandits. You know what I'm saying? Him and the detail. That's how they got down there. Like I said before, they'll beat you and they'll take it from you or whatnot. And the guards would use him as a conduit. Like, okay, you better calm down before I send Fly and them to get you. And you know how that's going to work. And Fly didn't even told stories to this magnitude, but leaving out the sexual part of it, saying it like they would just beat him down or something like that. The guards would just come get him and this and that and the other, and Fly smile and this and that and the other. Nah, you were smiling thinking about those sexual escapades you had during those times, like Damon and Money Mike in the bathroom. You feel me? It ain't no fun if they sleep squirm fish and all of that. That's what I see coming off these dudes. these DC Blacks. You know what I'm saying? Not limited to none. I ain't saying all or some, but the DC Blacks got a reputation for that. That ain't just one man. You feel where I'm coming from? It's not just one man. Let me see. Did I finish that? But he's absolutely correct in that from everything I've heard and everything I've seen from other sources. He says the guy that gave him a platform, the dude Eyone Williams, he informed and gave his partners, what he said, he informed and gave his partners up on a murder beef and put them in prison. This is his reputation in the penitentiary. This is somebody that's actively doing a life sentence in the penitentiary telling you that Eyone Williams gave his partners up and put them in jail. He informed and put them in jail. You feel me? That's his not the big bad DC Black, not slinging a knife and a blade and this and that other. No. He was a completely different dude in there. You know what I'm saying? The Pink Panther. Everybody know why they called him that. You feel me? We know why they called him that. Let me see. He said, and he even named Eyone in this. You feel me? He said, and they said the ABs smashed the DC dudes because they didn't handle their own business. You know what I'm saying? This is what John Greschner had to say as far as that goes or whatnot. Check it out. Bam.
Mike said to me, somebody on DC, maybe it was this Eyone dude or something, was saying, oh, well, the other dudes like the Bland and all them shouldn't have did that to the DC Blacks. They should have let the DCs handle it. The problem with that is they aren't handling nothing. They aren't taking care of it. And they got guys getting online, and then other people got to go on and handle it, and then they want to make them the bad guys.
And what that mean to me is they smashed you boys and you cried about it. You feel me? They said, what he say? What was his words? What he say? They got guys getting out of line and other people got to go handle it, and then they want to make them the bad guys. So they cry about it. What y'all do that for? Just like he say Eyone did. They should have let the DC Blacks handle it. And this and that and other. Well, they wasn't handling it. But that's because they condone in that type of behavior. You feel me? So I'm not upset about his point of view when it comes to certain things, because that is the way he has seen it. That is what he has experienced during his time in incarceration. They about feel like the DC Black condone in that type of behavior, whatever it may be. So they gonna handle it regardless. And once they tried, it seems like they tried to handle it the political way, and that didn't work. So they smashed on them. You feel? That's what it means. Y'all niggas got smashed on. You DC Blacks got smashed on by the Aryan Brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? I talk about that one. You feel me? I bet Blood on the Razor Wire got something up about that. Sandman asked a question though. You know what I'm saying? And it was a very good one. He said, why do people think they can just put anyone in the public spotlight? They can have anyone come and tell stories. They know this guy's background and they still give him respect that they shouldn't, and a platform to speak. Well, I'm going to tell you, man, it's because birds of a feather flock together, man. Birds of a feather flock together, man. You know what I'm saying? Some of those traits are inside of that Eyone dude, the one giving him a platform. I ain't going to say that Eyone. He got some of those same traits as Dog do. He identifies with Dog in a certain way. You dig? Outside of the money, the clout, the attention, you feel me? And then outside of that, he ain't got no morals. A man that stands for nothing will fall for anything, and we all know he don't stand for nothing. He don't stand for nothing. You feel me? So that's why right there. You feel? And then what the bigger question is, the audience that watches and the people that know. The information is out there. People pick and choose whether or not they're still going to watch this type of individual, knowing that if something happened to their loved one, something like he did, the crime he committed to their loved one, they wouldn't be able to stomach the person across the room that did it, the person across the court that did it. You know what I'm saying? But they can stomach him, and he the same type of individual. It don't make sense. You feel me? He said, how did Fly give back 2 life sentences? It's sketchy. They called in question that he may be hot and a bunch of other things. But, I did the same thing. I ain't gonna cap. I still feel like he hot to a degree. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The government can say whatever they want in order to let a person go or in order to accomplish their mission. Shit, they gave Alpo name was Abraham Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying? They let you know they can do whatever they want. They can make you over if they felt like it. You feel me? But he did get a compassionate release, and I do feel like it's a little bit of validity to that because the BOP let him down. He was diagnosed with a incurable disease. I want to say it's hepatitis C, but don't quote me on that. And the BOP lost his medical records and left him untreated for 20 years or better. So I believe that part of his compassionate release was them saying, they messed up. Yeah, we messed up, left him untreated and this and that and the other. Now he's at a stage where treatment wouldn't work. You feel me? He's lightweight terminal in his diagnosis of what's going on. So, I don't know, it's all subjective at the end of the day, but as we like to say, when it comes to snitching, you can't beat the black and white. And I can't overturn the black and white. That's what the black and white say. John Greschner, he says black politics are different than white politics or Mexican politics, and there's a lot of blacks that are sex offenders. Again, I'd have you go to the chart and let you know that those indigenous people are not Asiatic. Those are my folks, the Asiatic. That's indigenous. And white men. As you can see, the white men is at the top of the list 2 or 3 times along with the indigenous people. You dig what I'm talking about? So I don't understand where he doing his math at. You feel me? Like I said, I'm trying not to call him a racist. I'm going to call him pro-white. You feel me? But I'm pro-black, and I did the research on that, and it says you are not correct, to say the least. But, and he says there's white and there's Mexican, but there's a lot of blacks that are rapists, and they may decide to say something, but they aren't going to bust them out for it. And they aren't going to move on, and they aren't going to move on them for it either. No. I did a meatball. I've never been to the feds, but my experience with that is that he's correct. During my little bit, the only group that I could honestly say that wasn't messing with the boys was the Nation of Islam, the NOI. Shout out to Rico X. Shout out to Gaucher. Shout out to Mike X. But yeah. Those was the only cats that you can that it was strict with them. They didn't play that. I mean, they did business with them. People had stores or whatever type of businesses that they was doing. They would do business, but they wasn't messing with the boys. Now, anybody else you can think of was whatever other organ, the Moors, the whatevers, the Christians, the whatever, you know what I'm saying? They was messing with the boys in one shape, form, or fashion. You feel me? So a nigga might say something to him, but ain't nobody about to bomb on him about it. I never seen nobody get bombed on about none of that. You know what I mean? Unless they was protecting they better have, for lack of better words. You know what I'm saying? They stock, they person, they pronoun. You feel me? Then a nigga get moved on and bust out or something, but not just because he doing it. You feel me? So I do believe that the politics are different, just as he said. Lastly, he calls into question a lot of fly stories, saying that the events and the time frames that he's telling them in are all out of sequence, and he's just up there telling a bunch of lies. And I can honestly believe that as well. He says Fly is a liar, and the rapist that came to jail as a rapist and remained one in jail, even referencing the USP McNeil incident where he was supposed to have sexually assaulted a young Mexican inmate. Now, do you think he read that, heard about it, or was there? Because I don't think he read it. I ain't going to say he reading articles on another inmate in there or whatnot in order to do a interview and this. You feel me? Like, because that's something somebody's going to say. Oh, he don't know. He just read what he read and this and that. Nah, man, there's people that actually do know that man's character that's still behind that wall, man. You feel me? That's still active in this thing and that know the truth. to a lot of the stuff that he's saying. You feel me? The last thing he said was all Fly's homies knew he was a predator and they didn't care. And I can believe that. Like I said, he rolled with the detail. That's his homies. You feel me? The detail was his hand-picked crew of bandits that did everything with him. You know what I'm saying? Everything with him. You dig what I'm saying? So, yeah. There's a lot of weight and validity in what dude had to say. You jump in the comment box and let me know what you got to say about it. A link to the description box will be, I said it again, a link to Sandman's video with John Greschner will be in the description box. I implore you to go over there and check it out, man, in its totality, and let me know what you think about it, and let him know what you think about it. You feel me? I'm thinking about collabing with Dog in the future, you know. I think there's big things coming. But until then, peace to the 5% nation of gods and earths. Until we meet again. I'll be back.